Hi, and welcome to the Psychic Hour, a live call-in show where you can get the answers to your most challenging questions concerning life, love, or the afterlife. Starring Cindi Sansone-Braff, the romance whisperer, a relationship expert with a twist. She talks to the dead to teach you how to live well and love better. Named Best Psychic 6 times by the Long Island Press, she is the author of Grant Me a Higher Love, Why Good People Can't Leave Bad Relationships, and Confessions of Reluctant Long Island Psychic. Joining her tonight and always is the show's producer and host, Nicole Semidei. Nicole, a talented artist, writer, entrepreneur, and intuitive, shares her unique perspective on the Grant Me a Higher Love philosophy, which is the spiritual foundation of their show.
Hello, everybody. We are back.
Hi,
Thank
Nicole.
Hi.
Okay, I'm Cindi Sansone-Braff.
And I'm Nicole Semidei, and we are here with the Psychic Hour with Cindi Sansone-Braff.
Nicole, while we're
Yes.
waiting for people to come, I'm going to pick a tarot card
Oh, boy, here we
for
go.
just to see what's happening in the world and whatever. Okay, this is the Knight of Cups. That's an interesting card. This is creativity. Right before we got on the air, you said you've been back to your artwork.
I have been.
Good.
I have been. I've been forcing myself a little bit. I think I needed to hit a little bit of a reset.
Of course.
I was going full steam ahead with things. And then I started working a new job with Andrew, who we all love and adore. And I kind of just restructured my focus a little bit to concentrate on that. But after we had that reading, I was like, well, I don't know how many more things that I can do in a single day. And then I was like, you know what? That's a bad attitude to have. It's a horrible attitude to have. So while I was working at Andrew's, I was in the warehouse doing a project back there. And I'm like, you know what? Instead of listening to music and instead of putting on something arbitrary on my phone, let me open up my Audible and let me pick, one of my books that I used to listen to in the car when I was working for the union and stuck in 2.5 hours worth of traffic every day. So I put on this book, and it was a book that I had not, I don't even remember what it was, what it was called. I think it was maybe the 4-Hour Work Week. I know I bounced around a little bit for those days. And one of the things that came out of it was, if you feel and you say the words, I don't have enough hours in the day,
Then you don't.
then you need to reprioritize what your day looks like. And you have to ask yourself a certain number of questions about what is the most important for you to do. You have to ask yourself, if you could not do A, B, or C for one whole day, what would you choose to do with that day and things like that. And then I reprioritized it. I was like, you know what? I am filling up my day with some nonsense, and I'm finding things that, yes, it's the more fun things to do, but not necessarily what I should be doing. So I changed things around a little bit, and I forced myself to get into that creative zone, and I revised a couple things that I had worked on that were unfinished or that I wasn't happy with and that I was probably just going to toss aside. And then I started a couple of new things, and I showed it to a couple of people just to get a response because it was a little bit out of my box. And so far, so good. I got a very favorable responses from the people that saw my new pieces. And yeah, I'm going to start sticking with that vein and riding that road a little bit. And then when things are on sale, Cindi, I'll let you know.
Okay. Now we do have Polly. Do you see Polly's here? So
yes,
we're going to let Polly, because we know Polly knows what she's doing. She won't hang up on us too soon.
She will not hang up on us too soon. And again, so just before we get Polly into the studio, just for everybody's, intents and purposes here, please remember a couple things. If you are joining us from the Blog Talk platform, this platform does work a little bit differently. So please do not hang up when you are done. Please make sure that you allow me to hang up on you. I know it sounds so rude when I say that, but I will need to hang up for you so that I can ensure that we get all of your content into our show for post-production editing.
Absolutely.
So this way, Miss Cindi and myself don't have to pull our hair out trying to make a cohesive show.
And it's virtually impossible to edit if someone hangs up because their whole section gets cut out.
Yeah, and then it's me and Cindi talking, answering questions that were never asked. So
right,
it's weird.
So it's impossible.
Really weird.
So
So
let's
yes,
see,
so please just make
Polly.
sure that you don't do that. And if you want to go into the lobby, please just hit the live call in button so that we get the alert that you would like to be let in to speak with us, and then I will let you in from that lobby. All right. So thank you very much to Polly for calling in. Polly's question, Cindi, is she would like you to pull some cards to ask if she should still sell the condo and go forward with the plan. So let's invite Polly into our studio and let's see what those cards say. Hello, Polly.
Hello.
How are you?
Anyway, Polly, when
Interesting.
you asked the question, I did get the death card, which meant, yeah, you got to sell. Is there a reason you're hesitating about selling?
Yeah, because of this current environment we're living in, I am now in a state of fear and panic.
Okay, we're going to get that. I'm so glad you called in, by the way. Okay, because being fearful and panicking is what the world wants you to do right now. It's not
Right.
what spirit wants, okay? I'm telling you. Now, we talked about in the last couple of shows the 3D, 4D, and 5D world, okay? And
Mhm.
3D is ego. 3D is the news making you afraid. It's the
Right.
energy of dog eat dog. There's not enough money, scarcity. You're going to starve. You're going to be out in the street. And really, in the collective thinking of Americans, they have this fear of being a bag person. They're going to be out on the street. They're really afraid of being a bag lady. And
Mhm.
it doesn't matter how much money they have. So a lot of us get in that 3D world. Your default, by the way, Polly, is 4D. You're a very heart-based person. And 5D spirit. I
Yep.
need you to get out of 3D. Now, are you watching too much news, by the way?
Yep.
I need you to stop. This is the card that I got, the second card. I got the death card. It's time to sell. I
Mhm.
got this one, worrying about money. What's going to happen? What's going to be? Okay, scared. Okay.
Mhm.
And I got this card as the third card, which is you not being in the fourth dimension of heart anymore and
Mhm.
being in the dimension of fear. Now,
Mhm.
do you have a plan for when you move? Because you're a very old soul.
Yeah.
You can't just say, I'm going to just run out of town. Do you
Well,
have a plan?
yeah, no, remember I want to go down south for the winter,
Right.
and then I can go to the mountain camp for the rest of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that looks really good. Now, have you put your condo up for sale yet?
No, not yet. I'm
Okay.
just doing like inside projects right now because I'm just kind of unmotivated to move stuff to storage, which is what I need to do.
Oh,
We
you
just had snow today and I'm like, ugh.
also, there's a little low grade depression showing in your cards here.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now
a
let's
little bit.
talk about depression. Depression
Yeah.
exists in the 3D world. And if we
Hmm.
stay in 3D, we get suppressed. And old souls don't like change. So we tend to lollygag about it. We spend
Yeah.
a year or two too long where we shouldn't be. We weigh the pros and cons. And then we get ourselves depressed. Now you're so depressed you can't get out of bed, let alone move. Okay.
Well, that
So,
was December for me, remember?
right. And it's still here.
A little
And
bit, but not.
it's low grade.
Yeah.
Okay. Low grade.
Yeah.
But the anxiety
It's
that
only here in this condo, though. When I go outside, when I get in the car, when I go away from here, I'm perfectly fine.
that's because spirit's telling you don't belong there anymore. Okay. The interesting card came up, the pentacles. Pentacles are money. And this is the page is seen as a young woman. If you were 20, would you stay where you are now or would you go? Okay. Because God wants us to think more in terms of what you would do if you were younger and start doing some of it because people are living longer. So if you're going to stay unhappy, it's going to age you in dog years. Do you realize that? It's not good to
Right.
stay stuck. So
Mhm.
money looks very good if you move. It doesn't look
Mhm.
bad. It looks good. Okay.
Yeah.
And, and
Marie
you're
and I
still,
just got back from Florida, and I'll tell you what, I felt great down there. Great. And then I got back here, and it was like every ache and pain came back, and I was like, ugh, I do not belong here.
right. And remember, we talked a lot about mind body.
Hmm.
And if the energy isn't right, you're going to get sick.
Yeah.
Okay. It really means we've got to move on. We're not
Yeah.
happy. When we're where we belong, you don't think, should I stay or go? Mostly you
Right.
think of, what if I can't stay? You have a really good 5-year period opening up called the world. Pretty much anything you want is yours. What's your dream in the next 5 years? Let's throw it into the dream catcher of a reading. What would make you the
I would
happiest?
love to do the snowbird thing and go down south and come back to the mountains of New Hampshire for the summers at camp and just find a way to support myself on my own without having to have this job anymore.
Right. Because that's another thing. You're too long in the job that you have. It's 5 years. Again, every 5 years in our life, Spirit says, fix it or leave it. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're coasting along and you're getting a little anxiety around the 4-year mark, but you don't make the change, the 5-year mark becomes brutal. 5 to 6. You get sick, you get depressed, you get anxious because it's too long.
Yeah.
You have, these are making the choices. This is your shadow self, the part of you where your good stuff lies. Okay. And this is you making the choices. Now, old souls are pretty good about when God kicks us in the ass and moves us forward. Like if we get that call, we got cancer, we got this, we'll do what we got to do.
Right.
We're not very good at moving our own life forward.
No.
And God doesn't want to kick us in the ass with a negative wake-up call, by the way. But if you were to stay another year there, I think Spirit's not going to be so gentle with you. It's going to be, and by then, who knows what'll happen to the prices? Maybe it won't be as easy to move at that point.
Right. That's what I'm thinking myself. Yeah.
Right. And this is the Tower card. That means do it quickly. We could make change slow.
Yeah.
We could also change our life on a dime.
Yeah.
And this is what God would want you to do. This is you getting rid of the things you're not going to take with you. Even if you just start each day getting rid of something, one box of stuff.
Yeah.
Good.
And donating stuff and doing a little bit of repairs here and there, doing a little touch-up paint and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Is there something Spirit can do to help you immediately? Is there something you need them to get in your mind, tweak your energy a little bit, lift it a bit?
Yeah, I guess just send the positive energy to kind of get me going, like,
when
to
you
get me
need to go.
motivated. Yeah, to get out of here.
I asked your spirit guides about your chakra system. I'm not sure if everybody knows what a chakra system is. I think, you two do, but
Yeah.
we have 7 main chakras, and the first and second are concerned with the earth plane. It's pretty much 3D energy. How am I going to make a living? How am I going to do it? And unfortunately, that's where a lot of our good thoughts get aborted, because our mind might say, oh, I want to go to Florida. This is what I want to do. And then the first and second chakra say, well, how can you afford that? How can it work? Maybe it's not going to work. But Polly's first and second chakra are a little blocked. That's why you have a little low energy right now. Okay. So I'm asking your spirit guides that are Reiki masters to help it flow a little better, but that's where you're mostly stuck. It's your fear of, can I afford this? Okay.
Yeah.
How will it work? Is that a normal thing that you
Oh,
usually
yeah.
go through?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, once you do it, your spirit guides told me, once you make up your mind, you do make up your mind and race forward. Now, when you move to Florida, how are you going to come back and forth here? Are you going to rent something when you come back during the?
Well, so we have the family place up in the mountains here
Okay.
in New Hampshire, which I can be at from like April until end of October.
Okay.
And then I will probably just buy a little trailer or something down in Florida.
Okay.
Provided, they don't get wiped out by a hurricane or something.
There are a lot of mobile homes there that are reasonably priced. And this is the strength card. Spirit's trying to give you a lot of guidance, a lot of strength, and pretty much move forward and do it without so much fear. This love and fear. Right now, you're sort of walking the path of fear.
Right.
And again, old souls are not great risk takers. Don't think I'm going to quit my job tomorrow. We don't do that. That's not how we function. Okay. We think it through, then we do it. But the cards are actually very, very good on the change. What I'm getting is a lot of worry cards. That's a worry card. This is a worry card. But you're very strong. What are you doing for joy therapy? We talk about that a lot on the show. Like, what do you do to just reset your batteries with joyful things?
I haven't been doing much. We just came back from Florida, so that was very joyful. I spent a lot of time on the beach, spent time with Marie. I'm going to see my niece this weekend, my little baby grandniece. But when it's winter up here and there's snow and cold, that's the problem. That's why there's the depression, is because I can't get outside. I can't go to camp. I can't be doing what I want to do.
You have a bit of seasonal disorder, when you get depressed when it's winter time.
Yeah.
It really is a real thing for a lot of people. So again, everything looks good. You got the justice card. That's karma. It's time to go forward.
Yeah.
Nicole, do you have anything to add? Like, have you ever been stuck like that and you can't move forward?
Yeah, absolutely I have. I'm also going to advise you to take the bull by the balls. If you're not happy where you're at, if you're feeling a little bit, down, change it.
Yeah.
Right.
Only you have it. Don't wait for something to come along to change it for you or something to give you a reason to change it. You have to prioritize what you want, and you need to be the one to change that. Cindi and I were talking about it in the beginning of the show. What I was doing in my situation, and it wasn't that I was down per se. I was just finding myself in a predicament where I didn't have enough hours and I didn't have enough of anything, and I was just spinning wheels, and I had a certain set of priorities and I was just running with it. But Cindi had given me the advice a couple weeks ago that, hey, listen, you're turning your back on A, B, and C, and you shouldn't be. And I'm saying to myself, well, how the hell am I doing this? And I realized that I was failing to take action on what I wanted. Where you're coming, you're trying to figure out every step that you need to take from 1 to 100.
Yeah.
But step 1 is to start.
Yeah.
And you haven't done that.
That's where Jeff would have taken over.
Yeah.
Like, okay, now let's do it. But
because see, and that's the worst thing that you could have said. And the reason why that's the worst thing you could have said is because it basically means that you are aware of the fact that you need to move forward and you're still not doing it.
Yeah.
So now if you would have claimed ignorance and you would have said like, oh, you know what, I didn't see that, then that's different. Then you claim ignorance, you didn't know. Instead, you're saying, you know what, so-and-so would have put this forward and yeah, that was their job. Well, you're you now. Now it's your job, and you have to do your job, and you need to build the life that you want. But you have to act, and that's the one thing that I took away from my reading with Cindi a couple weeks ago is that I had analysis paralysis. Yeah. I was doing so much preparation for what I wanted without actually doing any of the work to create what I wanted.
Right.
I can do all the research I want. If I'm not writing, if I'm not drawing, if I'm not creating, if I'm not building, I'm not any closer to what my end goal is if I'm just researching what my end goal is.
Right. And I was talking with someone today about when I wrote my Beethoven play, and it took 4 years actually, but 2 years into it, I had nothing. I must have read 50 books, listened to tons of music, but I didn't have a play. Okay. And I was using a word processor in those days. I don't know if you've ever used one, Polly, but it was sort of between an electric typewriter and a computer, but slower. And I hit a button by mistake and I deleted 2 years of research. I howled like an animal being killed. My daughter woke up from her sleep because I was howling. Okay. And I said, that's it. I can't do this. That's it. It's over. The project's over. And I was channeling Beethoven a long time. And Beethoven said, you have 2 years of research. You got 50 books. You know exactly where the stuff is in the books, but you don't have a play, and you're never going to have a play because you just were going to read another book. So we stopped you from reading another book. Figure out where you would place this play. Ever you remember from your mind, write it down and come up with a form for a play. And 8 hours later, I had the play structure. Spirit just told me, you're going to go on researching another 3 years and you're not going to have a play. There's a point where we have enough research, but we're avid researchers, souls. And what makes it worse is because everything contradicts itself. You know, this research said do this, but this other one said you should do that. And then all of a sudden we don't know what the hell to do. Right. So I want you to know you have the research. Do you know where in Florida you want to go? Because I'm going to pull some cards on that area. Do you know where you want to go in Florida?
Yeah, I do, actually. Probably like the Venice area.
Nice. Now, it looks like you would be very creative there.
Yeah.
It would open up your whole heart and soul. Right now, what some of your anxiety and depression from the alignment of cards I just got here shows that being stuck is one thing that's keeping you there, but you're not nurturing your soul. You did when you went to Florida. That's why you felt alive and awake and good. When we don't nurture our soul, we get sick, we get anxiety, we get depression. So even in the cold weather, is it possible for you to bundle up and go out? Because I know I go out all the time. I bundle up warm and I just go walk.
I do go out, but I mean, I'm still working full time. So, you know, during the daylight hours, that's tough when it gets dark so early.
What do you do, Polly?
Real estate assistant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you work in an office?
No, I work pretty much remote. from
Okay.
home.
So there's nobody really to sit there and tell you that, number one, you're not allowed to take a lunch,
No,
right?
I have an hour lunch.
You have an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. So nobody's able to sit there and tell you that you can't eat at your desk, though, right?
No, I can do whatever I want.
Ah.
It's
So
me.
what if during your 9 to 5, what if you ate at your desk from, let's say, 11 to 12 while you were working, finish your lunch around that time or whatever time you normally eat lunch, and what if you took the complete hour to go and do some poly things?
Oh, I totally could.
Yeah.
Right.
So do that.
Yeah.
The little
I
things.
totally could. It's just me who would be like, "Oh, it's freaking cold out."
Okay, now.
You know what? I'm gonna say two things to you.
You guys are in New York. You're warmer.
Well,
Yeah,
wait, I'm
but
gonna say two things too, and it's gonna change your life. Ready?
I'm ready.
Aurora and snow deer.
Okay.
Okay. My wife, who works for the union, and I, who also used to work for the union, we had a lot of outdoor locations, and these guys don't give a shit if it's snowing. They don't give a shit if it's hail. You just get the job done, and you get the place dressed, and you get the scene set.
Mm-hmm.
So there have been days where we've worked outside, and it's been like 12 degrees.
Ugh.
Okay, but here's the thing. We were fine. And the reason we were fine is because we both have sets of heated pants, heated gloves, heated vests, heated sweatshirts, heated coats, heated hats, and heated socks. Okay, so you can get heated whatever. And quite honestly, like if you just get your core warm, you don't even need all the other stuff. My wife just likes options, so she has more than she needs.
Yeah.
But heated gloves, perfect. Because you know what? Your hands don't feel anything. You throw a heated vest on underneath your coat, guarantee you're gonna be unzipping your coat on the way back home.
Yeah.
You know, just because of the fact that you're gonna, you know, it's gonna keep you that much warmer, you know? The heated hat, not exactly my favorite item, but the heated scarf is fantastic. So
All right.
And these
so
are
you
things,
can get yourself things like Cindi, snowshoes in snowstorms.
Right.
You know, she goes cross-country skiing on her road in between readings just so she can get out there. So, you know, it's not the ideal situation. This is another thing that I try to focus with my wife on.
right, it's not ideal.
It doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Right.
It doesn't have to be the ideal situation and under perfect circumstances. Sometimes it could just be that 10 minutes that just makes the difference. Yeah, it's not 30. It's just 10. It's just 15. But you know what? It's something. It's something to break up the
she's
day.
frozen.
It's something to break up the monotony. It's something to create
But
a
we
little
do
bit
need
more
the
inspiration.
outdoors. That's nature therapy. And that's
Right.
you know, and we can't just have it when we go on a vacation. We have to really be able to get out all weathers, just get out. And if you don't, you become neurotic. So I always walk. I don't care how cold it is. I bundle up. I'm actually never cold. Even when we get cold here, I mean, it was like 12 degrees and windy here. I was still walking because I was dressed warm. I actually get a little chillier in the summer because I'm so bundled up in the winter, I don't even feel a breeze. So in the summer, when I feel a little breeze, I'm like,
I was
chilly.
gonna say, Cindi, I've been in restaurants with you where it's 70 degrees and you're putting on a sweater. How the hell you were cold? That would make sense.
I'm so used to being out when it's really cold and bundled up, and I don't feel a breeze on me. So
And somebody in the chat room, Cindi, just commented. They said that they used to go to Catholic school in high school, and they had to wear a school skirt. And guess what? They only warm their core. So it works, Polly. It works. It's not, like I said, it's not ideal, but with the right equipment, it doesn't have to be as bad as you think it is.
right.
Okay.
And again, what's the whole thing about life is we take too long to make a decision. And what Spirit has told me, if you're not sure if you should stay or go for more than a year, it's time to go. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a place where you want to be, the worst
And I've
thought
been
is it's
talking about this for almost a year.
Okay.
I started talking about this with Valerie
I remember.
about a year ago,
Okay. So
January. Yeah.
again, we're not great risk takers. We don't like change, but you know what old souls hate more than change? Boredom.
Yeah.
The fire that gets lit under our ass is when we're bored,
Yep.
because that will make us hightail out of something faster than anything else.
Yeah. And I am definitely bored.
So if you've mastered the real estate world and learned all you can from that, why wouldn't you want to learn something else? It doesn't
Right.
make sense not to learn something else. And Polly's a very interesting person because what she's going through, a lot of us have gone through. And, you know, I look back at my life and I think how much time I wasted not moving forward and worrying about this and what's going to happen if that happens and what if this and what if that. And looking back, I think I should have moved forward. I should have moved faster. What was I thinking? What was
Yeah, and I
keeping
don't
me?
want to be that person.
No, and it's not a good thing because our soul knows where we belong and it keeps saying, go forward, move
Yeah.
forward. And also, old souls are overthinkers.
Oh,
We
yeah.
overthink everything. Now,
Yep.
the funny part about life, think about this analogy. We all go to sleep every night. The whole family goes to sleep. Everybody goes to sleep for 8 hours, and nobody's guarding the house with a shotgun. I mean, all of a sudden, we all decide we could all shut off our minds. We don't have to have a thought. Nobody needs to think about anything, worry about anything. Like nothing's going to happen in that 8 hours while we're sleeping. Okay. We have done that since we're children. All day we worry, worry, worry. Then we go to sleep like, okay, for 8 hours. Like, what's different about the daytime than the nighttime? You think spirit isn't watching over us all day? You think they're not guiding us and helping us? If we can shut off our mind for 8 hours and go to sleep, why can't we shut out all that crazy thoughts that are useless worry, nonsense thoughts that do nothing but sabotage peace in our mind? So sometimes it's like, do what's on your plate, do what you got to be doing, put one foot in front of another. That's the superpower of old souls and of successful people. You just put your one foot in front of the other. Times in my life when I did not want to get out of bed, when I was so devastated, and yet work has to go on. I was always an entertainer. The show has to go on. I can't not perform. And it forced me to go to work and do what I needed to do. And usually there were waking dreams when I was doing that, meaning someone would say the right thing I needed to hear, or the energy would be what I needed at that time. So I'm not a believer in let's just lay around forever. Nope. Let's put one foot in front of the other. And I want everybody who's a chronic worry to think, well, how come you go to sleep every night? How come we don't have somebody guarding our house with a shotgun? Why is it that we have some faith that something or someone's watching over us while we're sleeping?
Right.
Someone is keeping us safe. But all in all, our minds are so much wasteful thoughts. And I'm bringing this up because wasteful thoughts, worry thoughts, chronic overthinking drains us. It isn't hard work that drains, it's even life that drains us. It's just all this constant worrying, overthinking, anticipation.
It puts your nervous system into such dysregulation.
And people tend to do it though. It's how we live so much of our life. And meanwhile, most of it, if we just let time do her thing, a lot of things would have taken care of themselves. We didn't have to overthink everything all the time. So what should we ask our listeners to do this week? See what would happen if they shut off some of those thoughts a little bit. What would happen if you stopped worrying for an hour? What would be in your mind if there wasn't all that worry? Peace. It's an amazing phenomena to have peace in your mind.
Yeah.
And to let go and let God. It's really, we have ye of little faith. We really think we have to control everything. And
see, that's when I'm in the mountains at camp, that's where I go. That's what happens. Like the phone gets put away and I am just in nature, out on the paddleboard, swimming, doing whatever. And
wow.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, that's
how I
the
feel
nature.
when I snowboard and when I'm on my motorcycle.
Those are the nature therapies, really.
Yeah.
Because part of it is we're too sedentary in America.
Yeah.
We sit too much. And that's really, really what makes us like this. Okay. That's
why
why
I want to find like a career in nature, like something to do.
I got the Ace of Cups, love and peace when she said that. Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you're a physical person, you need a job that you don't sit so much, that you get up and move. Even if you're not an overly physical person, sitting all day is not good. If you run up and down the stairs 10 times, it gives you as much energy as if you had a cup of coffee. Okay?
Wow.
Just running, just moving. It's when we're sitting too much. So getting a more physical job would be good. And we're getting a little too disconnected sometimes from nature.
Oh, yeah.
And we need a little more of that. So, Polly, what's your plan?
I really got to list this condo.
Okay.
Which means I've got to I got to clean out that spare bedroom. That's the holdup.
Okay.
And then just get it listed.
Put on some music and make it fun.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have to make work hard. If you relax with some music, you do it. It could be quiet therapy as well.
Yeah.
We have to make the mundane chores a little more interesting. I'm going to pull cards and see what I expect from you. Looks like you're going to move forward, by the way. I keep getting the worry cards, so moving forward, but worry, 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 worry. She's a worrier. She's a worrier. She's a worrier. She's a worrier. She's a worrier.
Nicole's shaking her head.
Okay. She's still worrying. And
Nicole's gonna be
this
texting
is
me this
ultimately the Tower. Move a
Oh,
little
Polly.
faster. Move a little faster.
I have to carry all this shit downstairs and then out in the snow and then to a storage unit. That's the problem.
Hire
Okay.
movers.
I don't want to. It costs money.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But
now,
but think of it this way. What costs more? Your time or a couple of college guys willing to take shit out to your car for you and drive it to where you need it to go? Like, you have to look at it that way, Money, I get it. Everybody wants more of it. Money is a factor. Some people don't have enough, and it's, listen, it will always be a thing. Even rich people still worry about money, and they still have expenses that they want to or not want to pay for.
Right.
But you have to realize that certain times it's okay to splurge on yourself. This is not like you're saying, I want to go out to dinner instead of cooking every night of the week. You're not saying, I have 500 pairs of shoes, let's make it 501. You're saying that this is an activity that is going to serve my higher purpose, that I don't have the mental capacity or energy for, and would be extremely inconvenient in my day.
Yeah.
So to remove that from your plate and pay somebody else to take that on for you, that will be hours of your time that you get to take back for that. So if it costs you $300 and saves you 3 hours, you just invested $100 an hour in yourself.
right.
That's
And
true.
also, though, you're not breaking it down. I
Yeah.
think what you're doing is you're seeing the whole big thing that you have to do
Yeah.
rather than break it down into some smaller steps. Even if you're
Right.
the one that packs it all up and does it, maybe somebody else could haul it. But you're looking at it from the whole big job and not the smaller parts of things.
Yeah.
But also, what's coming across in your energy is depression. So when you're depressed, to walk across the room feels like you're climbing a mountain. And I don't know if anyone's ever experienced actual clinical depression. It's not pleasant, okay? I had it when I was 17 for a very brief period of time. And fortunately, in those days, they didn't believe in keeping you on antidepressants forever, thank God. They gave you one for like a month, and I realized what the issue was, and it lifted. I actually was in homeroom, 17 years old, feeling the depression lift off of me. It was an amazing sensation. And it's never returned since because I had a good therapist. Only saw him 4 times, but he was a brilliant man and pretty much gave me some tools that I needed to feel actual clinical depression. Is you really don't want to get out. You don't want to do anything. But I was an old soul. I kept going forward anyway. But it was like a mountain. Okay. So a low grade depression isn't quite as debilitating, but it just makes every task seem impossible. Do you know what I mean? Impossible. Ask spirit guides to like kind of help you make it a little more fun thing to do. And if you can't do that, then you do have to pay somebody. So what can I tell you? But try to realize, why are you fighting it? That may be your paralysis because you're not sure what to do. So you're doing nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So that might be a physicalization of what's going on in your head.
Yeah.
Because if you start really taking the steps forward, emptying the room, doing this, that means you're really moving.
Right.
And that might be scaring you.
Possibly,
We all have some forms of commitment phobia, and it doesn't always have to do with relationships. Just
Right.
committing to the move. If you're
Right.
actually doing this, you're committing to the move. So I think you're just not sure if you're committing to the move yet. And if you do that, it's really saying, I'm doing this. So think about why we sometimes don't do a task and why we procrastinate and things like that. Anyone who knows me, I'm absolutely not a procrastinator at all. I get everything done a week in advance. I get everything done. Not me. If I got to do it, I do it now.
Oh, no.
I do it now. I get it done and over with because I don't even know that term procrastination. It's never been my being
Well,
whatsoever
you are
because
lucky.
I've always juggled so many things that I have to
Yeah.
do what's on that plate now, or I'm just going to fall so far behind, I'm never going to catch up.
Mhm.
But in terms of making a big move like a divorce, took me way too long to. And, every trick in the book you do to stop a divorce, get depressed, get sick, someone loses money, now you can't afford to do it. In life, when we're doing what's right, life goes pretty quickly. Things move. And
Yeah.
remember, whether you like it or not, from now to the rest of our lifetimes, it's moving in the speed of light. So if we don't start moving faster, the universe is going to kick us. Okay.
I'll
They
tell you
want
what.
humans to move faster.
I'll make you a deal.
Oh, she's going to make a deal with me. She's making a deal with the devil over here. Okay, make a deal with us.
Molly, before you say it, make sure you know what you're doing.
She's making a
We have an
deal.
appointment on the
Let's make a deal.
We have an
Let's
appointment
make
on
a
the
deal.
16th,
Okay.
right? You and I?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we do. 16th. I will get that room cleaned out. Partially.
Partially?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make progress. Let's put
Okay.
it that way.
Yes.
By that time.
Right. And I just say a
You want to know what the
little
funniest
bit.
thing about that is, Cindy?
What?
The funniest thing about that is that she legit just went into that. Like she let us believe she was jumping off the diving board.
And then I
I'll make you a deal. We have an appointment on this day, and I'm going to get that room clean.
partially.
A lip.
Partially.
A
She's going to
lip.
be a little bit pregnant.
Partially.
Okay. She's going to be a little bit
What?
pregnant this one.
When she said
What happened just as she said, I'm just going to jump in, and then she decided to just put in her toe. That's what just happened. Okay? Right in front of us. She just did it.
well, I might surprise you and just
For anybody that's watching the show, anybody that's going to come back and listen to the show, that's what being a commitment phobe looks like. You just saw it. You just saw that shit because you go in saying, yes, I'm invested 2 feet, baby, except for this one I'm going to leave over there.
This is a human dilemma. Okay. A human dilemma of if we're not sure what we should do, we do nothing. And then God comes a year later and kicks us in the ass, gives us a major wake-up call, which always hurts. That's why I don't procrastinate anymore. Do it, move your ass forward, and we're kicking it forward for you, and we're bringing you to your knees, and it's going to hurt a lot more. So when we get that inkling,
Emil's comment, I need to clean out my closet partially.
Who said that?
Emil.
Oh, okay. Okay, we're going to partially... I'm gonna partially take a shower, okay? But again,
Andrew says I heard it too. I think clean the full room.
okay.
Damn
So what this was wonderful is because this is the human dilemma. We know we have to go forward, and then we have our ego saying, "How much is this going to cost me? Can I afford it?" And that gets stopped right away in our first and second chakra. Okay.
Yep.
Then when we finally do start to move forward, we start thinking still, what if this happens? What if this? And in doing nothing, again, we hand our destiny over to spirit. And I've learned, I'm not doing that anymore. I know where I got to go. I'm going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when
No,
I
have to press forward because I can't just sit here and do nothing anymore.
Okay. And also, we gave you an energy infusion of 4 and 5D energy. That should get you going. Okay. 3D energy is deadly and tired. Okay. 4D and 5D is where we start to move forward. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm loving that Polly came on the show today because I think we all had to talk about that. But when we need to move forward, it's time to move forward. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if unfortunately, growth feels painful. Okay. It doesn't feel easy. It feels painful. Once we do it, we say, why didn't I do it 5 years ago? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Polly, I'm going to say one more thing about your non-commitment to cleaning a room. In general, and this is something that that I kind of have to life coach my wife through sometimes, because I think that you and her share some characteristics there. And it's sometimes some of the things that I have to do as well. And we know with myself, because as usual, it's always easier to point things out to other people. It's not so easy to see them, when you're too close to the situation. But right now we are on February 6th. And you said that you have an appointment on the 16th, right?
Yep.
That's 10 days from now.
Yep.
And you wanted to put something out there, and you wanted to make a big move and say, I'm going to have that room done in 10 days.
Yep.
Now, for whatever the reason, cleaning out this room is difficult for you. It's more of like what I would consider a milestone behavior. It's something that is going to set a milestone in your life. And maybe that's a milestone that's a happy one. And maybe it's a milestone that's a sad one.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to advise you is, when you have big things that you want to kind of surmount, and you want to overtake, something that's big for you, there's something that's extremely challenging, don't say that you're going to overcome it all at once.
Right.
Set yourself small, mini milestone goals that you can complete, because otherwise what'll happen is you'll be non-committal and you won't get it done, or you'll say, well, I got it done partially,
Yeah.
or what'll happen is you'll attempt it, you'll fail, and then you'll feel terrible for failing at it.
Right.
So instead of setting yourself up for failure, and to feel badly about it, set yourself up for success. So 10 days in an entire room on something that's a big emotional impact on you is a very large goal. So in this case, what I would say is, since it's only 10 days away, and you've just made this decision now on a Thursday night, so really today's out. We're starting from tomorrow.
Not.
So,
She could do it right now.
some of it now, but instead of saying, you're going to have the entire thing done, why don't you say, within 10 days, I'm going to have the room packed and ready to move.
Okay.
And then after that 10 days, you can say, now within the next 3 days, I'm going to make the appointment to have this stuff picked up. Or if you choose to do it yourself, within 3 days, I'm going to have 25% of the boxes out of here and in the storage unit. Then give yourself a little mini break. Take a breather, process emotions from what you just did. Then in another 3 days, okay, if you're doing it yourself, I'm going to take another 25% over, and do it in increments. Set yourself up for success. Don't always use it as a cop-out. Don't say, well, you know what? I know I don't want to drink all week, but Thursday's just as good as Friday. No, I'm off on Friday, so it's technically, don't do that to yourself, but make it achievable.
Right.
Exactly.
And make it about 15-20% more than you want it to, though. So if you want 20, go 30. If you want 40, go 50, go 55. Make it a little bit past where you want it, so that it's still accomplishing something, but you're setting yourself up for success, and you're setting yourself up to feel good.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And write it down so that when it's done, you can see it on a list and cross it off.
All right.
All right. Well, we're at the end of our show.
We are at the end of our show.
Thank you, Polly, for letting us talk to you about what everybody needs some talking about. Okay.
Yep.
It's when it's time to move, get going.
Yep.
And Polly, I expect you to text me and let me know how you're doing.
Okay, I will.
Absolutely. And Polly, remember, don't hang up just yet, because again, we are at the end of our show. So for right now, I would just like to say thank you very much. I will be removing you from the chat in a couple of seconds here, but thank you very much for sharing your experience. We definitely appreciated your support in getting this platform up, and we appreciated having you on tonight. So good night, Polly.
Bye.
And we've become such good friends now.
All right, Cindi. Well, thank you to everybody that was listening. Thank you to the people in the chat room. And thank you, Cindi. As always, you did a wonderful job.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.